sort of the last 20 years constant reminder that sports heroes a lot of times aren't our heroes. So this was extremely sad. Jopa fired, what could be worse? Where should I begin? I drew that, of course, when that news broke, and the people at Penn State were rallying around Joe Paterno, and I'm like, are you kidding me? It was very offensive. When his statue came down, I did this one, touchdown. And just last week, when they put Sandusky in jail, I said, this is Sandusky, throw it away. A little bit lighter note, but something that's very important, I'm sure to you and to all of our kids. I have a son who's a great athlete, is the whole steroid thing. I did this cartoon with Lance crashing into a thing labeled doping evidence. I mean, it's just disappointing, but it is the way it is, and it's just another poster that a kid has to take off their wall, because you certainly don't want them to be competing by using these kinds of things that are so detrimental. It's really, really quite disappointing. Now, really, in the last couple of years, everything has come full circle back to the economy. So here we have the recession and a double-dip recession. That's what that looks like. We have recession dating. I have a job, a sports car, and a summer house in the Hamptons. Now they say, I have a job. Awesome. And of course, this guy's saying, we'll get better gas mileage once we leave this at the pump. And you just sold your house for $300,000 less than you paid. Wow, I can't believe that. We sold our house! Now, I mentioned that I lived here and worked for the Times-Picayune for many years. And when I was here, one of the strangest elections in our nation's history, I think, took place, which was between Edwin Edwards, who just got out of prison, and David Duke, who was a neo-Nazi head of the Ku Klux Klan. When this came up, I was like, well, this is a joke. I figured that Edwin Edwards would win and David Duke would get a few thousand crazies to vote for him. But that was not the case. He got hundreds, I think 400,000 or 500,000 votes. I was highly offended. My editor said to me, just do what you want to do. This is an issue meant for you. And I drew multiple cartoons. This is probably the worst, or I think the best, hard-hitting cartoon I did about David Duke. And this is him in the sewer of bigotry and ignorance saying, I think I finally found the mainstream. And I got to tell you, I got more phone calls. I can't prove this, but I did have about 35 nails in my back tire in my car. I got letters written to me with swastika scrawled on them. It was an unbelievable time to be a cartoonist here. Thankfully, David Duke lost. And I think he ran for president again this year. He's just an unbelievably strange person, but it was a very invigorating time to be a cartoonist in Louisiana and be able to go after a guy like this. Now, the last couple that I want to show you before I get to the animations are really some of the classic cartoons I sort of think back on and I'm like, wow, those were pretty funny. So, and the issues were pretty funny. So the first one goes quite a bit back. This is George Bush. He's saying, we're using new tactics to get Osama. This guy's saying, you've been invited to go hunting with Dick Cheney. Now, the next one is really about a story that happened in New York, but everyone knew about it nationally, which was the Anthony Weiner story. I mean, it's unimaginable what this guy did, but I couldn't believe it, and I was psyched. I came into work every day ready to go, and I drew this one. Any truth to the story? I'm looking into it. Now, many of you probably went through security on your way here at the airports, and it's gotten a little bit better. There was a time when it was unbelievably over the top what they made you do. I drew this cartoon. After 7 hours of wading through heightened security, Larry faced one final challenge. Boarding pass, please. And finally, I look back sort of starry-eyed at what I call the great days of cartooning, which was the Monica Lewinsky scandal. And I worked here in New Orleans, so it was, it's a loose city, and it was just unbelievable what they were printing in the paper. It was amazing. So at one point, I drew this cartoon with Bill Clinton saying, well, this is another fine mess you've gotten us into. Now, that was pretty funny. But what happened the next day was I was sitting in my office And my phone rang and this little old lady called me. She's like, yeah, baby, what's up? I said, nothing, ma'am, what are you doing? She goes, baby, I love your cartoons. She goes, let me ask you a question. Who is he talking to, Monica? I'm not making that up. You gotta love New Orleans.